This gender-bender passion play is actually a fashion show taking place at Raptures, a nightclub in San Francisco, the heart of the goth scene.
The fashion show here is a lot of fetish wear, industrial wear. It really gets people to express what they're feeling.
And with goth, that means sullen, morose, and at times a dark spirituality that can reach into the world of vampirism.
I became a vampire like 4 years ago.
Mandy is a 15-year-old from Anaheim. She's been into goth since she was 10 and seems to be getting in deeper all the time.
This guy named John, we were kind of like going out for like a little bit. He like bit me like a couple places, like on my neck and everywhere. He like kind of cut his shoulder, like really big gash. Not with his finger, but with some knife or something. And I drank from him.
Mandy's mother worries, but hopes it's just a phase.
If she started saying she wasn't going to go outside no more and she wanted me to buy her a coffin, I think I would get real scared.
Not everyone involved in goth takes it to extremes. With all the darkness, there's also some light, a fun side with a Halloweenish playfulness to it.
When we took something that's, you know, pretty dark and bleak looking and turned it into something, you know, actually, it's kind of fun.
In the world of goth, real names are often meaningless, those in black taking monikers to match their moods, like Sorrow and her friend Amore. They say the gothic lifestyle doesn't have to be destructive.
If all gothics were so fascinated with death and suicide and dying, I mean, there wouldn't be a gothic scene.
And most goths will tell you that art is at the core of their cryptic expression.
It's about art and music. Music is art. Everything is creation, you know?
With the Gothics, Bernard Gonzalez, Fox 11 News.
Question, does Gothic artistic creation go too far? Hundreds of people in Southern California, most of them in their teens, have explored the mysterious world of goth. They have the scars to prove it. You'll meet some of them tomorrow night. Interesting scene.
Well, well, well. Now, let's bring in a normal guy.
Mark.
Yeah. Pretty much anybody's looking normal after that.
Some are just celebrating the macabre, and being goth is simply a black-draped fun night out, going no deeper than black fingernail polish and stark outfits. Their reasons for being part of all this often running to the illogical.
15 years ago, I was going to be a naval fighter pilot, but I became too tall to be a fighter pilot. They have height restrictions, so, you know, one thing leads to another. And
But for others, it's something much more serious. They're mesmerized by the dark despair of it all and have made the goth movement a way of life. They're all here on this night to soak up Element and Deep End, bands pumping out the gothic pulse. Meet Deep End's leader, stage name Fatal. His high-impact performance bewitches the Coven crowd. And for Fatal, goth is a full-time state of mind and being. Whether it's cross-dressing for a holiday party at home,
I'm like the housewife tonight, and I'm going to be cooking up some garlic bread.
or sitting in his candle, skull, and knife-bedecked bathtub.
We should be free, have the freedom to express ourselves in any which way, not be questioned, really, as long as we're really not harming other people, I mean.
At 28, Fatal doesn't worry about harming himself. His back has become a scarred canvas. These Gothic designs actually etched, sometimes burned into the skin.
This one is done with a cauterizing scalpel. It's a scalpel so hot it cuts and burns at the same time. This one's done with a razor blade and fire.
It's called scarification, an ancient rite adopted by the Goths. And here, Fatal wants one of his designs darkened.
Yeah, you want to go back over the outside here to make it bigger?
In a doctor-like office in the Los Feliz area, the scarification artist works like a surgeon. The cutting causes some bleeding, and the resulting scar will make the design wider and deeper.
How does it work?
It looks good.
Having one's body cut and pierced separates the hardcore Goths from the weekend frolickers.
Oh, did you see my new piercing?
Another way to punctuate the Gothic point, a customer at Ipso Facto showing off her latest body piercing. And for something that makes a Gothic statement as soon as you open your mouth, perhaps a tongue piercing, Ipso Facto will do it for you in their back room. But there are ways to make gains in Goth without the pain. This is Vampiricus in Long Beach, an intentionally creepy night spot. where notions of death, darkness, and evil are everywhere, on the dance floor and off. And oh yes, the hallways are haunted by vampires.
It's a good scene because you can be whatever you want to be.
And if you want to play vampire, there's a man haunting Vampiricus who can fix it up for you. Meet Gavin.
I'm a fang maker to the gang.
Gavin's customers can really put a bite into the night.
Well, I always tell people that they could bite the one they love, but be very careful. Be very careful. Don't want to do any damage and certainly cause no pain.
We just got to mix up the alginate. This is what takes the impression of the teeth.
And here's where Gavin makes the fangs. If it looks like a dentist's office, it feels like one too. Goths who want fangs get an impression made. But really, why fangs?
Because it's different, yeah. It's strange, unusual.
You don't have to make these too terribly long for them to look effective.
The hand-carved fangs are set in a band, which then fits down on the gum. And surely, that's the smile of a satisfied customer, eager to return to the ranks of grinning goths, where if you're gonna smile, you do it with fangs. Bernard Gonzalez, Fox 11 News.
Beyond the fun and the fangs, there is danger. The goth scene can take a tragic turn to where death becomes real. Young lives are wasted. Tomorrow night at 10, Fox Undercover explores goth in the extreme.
Strong series of earthquakes has killed at least 79 people in northeastern Iraq, but that toll is expected to rise as more bodies are...
Others take its world of darkness into despair and too far. Tonight in a Fox Undercover report, Bernard Gonzalez shows us the sometimes tragic results.
You're getting a rare glimpse, the extreme edge of the Gothic movement. A photo shoot for a sexually explicit magazine.
Oh, that looks cool.
The Playboy of the goth world, complete with bondage and sadomasochism.
Let's do one where she's just starting to bring it around, and then let's have her forcing you to your knees on that.
The magazine's publishers say they're getting more readers all the time.
We intend to profit from end of the century decadence.
And it's that decadence, the sexuality and medieval symbolism that typifies the Gothic subculture.
People are like, we're about to go into the year 2000. There's all these prophecies about world destruction and whatnot. And I think that it's a time for a little bit more of a decadent perspective.
Only here, it's pushed to the limit.
Well, I think there's a lot of people who really like this sort of thing. They like gargoyles, they like cemeteries, they like dark music. But they may not be wanting to admit it because it's kind of shunned by society.
It's one thing for an adult to go to Gothic extremes, but for the younger and more vulnerable, it's quite another. For these young goths, what they're treating as playful, others could see as degrading. And it seems more times than not, it's the children of goth who are taking it to the edge. 15-year-old Mandy, for instance.
These are the blood bottle. It has my son's blood in it, my blood, and some other people's blood.
Mandy says she's a vampire and claims to drink other people's blood, in spite of the very real danger of contracting a deadly disease.
When you sink your teeth into someone's skin, you get this overwhelming, peace. My closet of horrors.
But she insists she would never hurt anyone and believes she's not hurting herself. But some goth kids on the edge can be destructive, and the damage linked to Gothics is adding up.
It was like walking into hell.
In November, Mary Lou Pazzo found 9 vaults at the Verdugo Hill Cemetery destroyed. A sick crime pinned on 14 suspects, all students at Verdugo Hills High, and all part of a group calling itself the Gothics. Investigators say the teens broke into crypts and even took the mummified remains of one woman, propped her up, and put a cigarette in her mouth.
It's disgusting to the community as a whole, the people that I've talked to, and it's just the idea of doing something like that is just so revolting.
Even more revolting, a murder attributed to kids under the influence of goth. The story was spotlighted on America's Most Wanted.
I want to warn you right from the beginning. This next story is not suitable for young kids.
Richard and Ruth Wendorf were brutally beaten to death in a small town in Kentucky. The suspects, 4 blood-drinking teenagers, part of a cult calling themselves the Vampire Clan.
The underground vampirism culture is all over the country. More and more, the kids are buying into a lot of the vampire fiction and movies. It's detrimental if you don't understand where fiction ends and reality begins.
Not all kids take goth to extremes, but most are into it for the shock value. Take this group out for Saturday night fun at Disneyland.
All these weirdos are here, and
you feel at home.
They're led by a charismatic 14-year-old who calls himself Slushy. He's fully involved in the Gothic scene.
It helps me express myself. It lets me express my feelings instead of keeping them bottled up.
Slushy and his goth friends come here often, explaining it's one of the few places they can meet without being hassled too much.
I'm going to confession right now.
But that doesn't mean they don't get extra attention from security here.
They think that we make Disneyland an unhappy place. Yeah.
These kids say it's not easy being a Gothic. Some say they've grown up under a dark cloud, no strangers to pain.
Mom, I hate you for that.
Shocking words, but again, that's what Goth is all about. Shocking us, living like they're in constant anguish and dread and flaunting it, putting us on and loving it. On the trail of the Gothics, Bernard Gonzalez, Fox 11 News.
Several Hollywood clubs cater to the goth movement. Other shops offer body piercing, even skin scarring. You can even have your very own vampire teeth made to order.
The goth rock band Marilyn Manson, you may have heard of them, has some Boston area grade schoolers calling for a boycott tonight. The group's new album, Antichrist Superstar, is moving up the charts. They even have a website. When students at St. Joseph's heard about the group's Boston area concert, they asked teachers to help stop it. The controversy has inflamed passions.
Marilyn Manson himself has openly said that he wants to destroy Christianity.
You have your freedom. If you want to go listen, you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to.
I grew up in the days of Alice Cooper, and this is not like Alice Cooper.
The students are hoping their boycott will catch on.